Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy, Tuesday afternoon. I hope we're all okay. Hope we're all right. Hope that the day's treating you as well as it possibly can do. In this video, we are talking Bryan Gil and Reguilon's omission from the tour squad, but also not only that, Bryan Gil potentially moving back to Spain and Girona, which is one of Man City's city group clubs. So we're talking about that. We're talking about Hermoso and a bit of a small update on that side of things. We're going to be talking about Jed Spence and also potentially a situation where Jed Spence is impressing and may stay at Spurs. So plenty to talk about, plenty to get into. Just want to say that if you're new and watching and subscribe, you're very much welcome to join us for the journey. Morning Spurs. Donna, Christian, Tottenham, John, Sonia, Ventress, Hogan, Simon, Tom, Alez. How are we all? I hope you're all okay. Obviously, pre-recorded video yesterday at 7. For the time being, I think going forwards, the 7 o'clock will be more of a pre-recorded just for the because basically I normally record stuff for the second channel in the evening or edit. So yes, I spent all morning this morning editing about 3 or 4 different F1 videos. So it's been a very busy morning because of it. Hey Jake, mate, you're right. So let's jump in. Let's talk some stuff and some news. So yeah, like I said, yesterday it came out that it was confirmed Bryan Gil and Sergio Reguilon have been granted permission to not travel on tour in order to explore transfer opportunities. And this came from Fabrizio Romano. It's on Spurs' situation of who's on tour and who's not, right? And normally that means, look, you're leaving, right? That's nothing shocking. I've not said anything there that you're sitting there going, what? How does that work? Right? But it came out about 8 p.m. yesterday from Paul O'Keefe saying that understand Girona in talks with Tottenham for Bryan Gil. No agreement on fee as of yet, but ongoing on club and player side. So this sounds, in regards to a deal, this sounds like a permanent deal, or it could look a bit like Højbjerg's deal where it's a loan with an obligation. Now, for Girona, I believe, don't hold me to this yet. I just want to double check because I think I read about it about an hour ago. Yeah, I did. From Fabrizio Romano saying that Atletico Madrid are closing in on a deal to sign Artem Dovbyk from Girona for about 40 million euros. So they've got the money, Girona, to spend, a few million on Bryan Gil. And I think for a lot of us, I think we're going to take 5 or 6 million for Bryan Gil. And I think we take that and we just kind of move on. That's the vibe that I'm going to have with this situation is take the money, move on, free up that squad spot for someone else to come in. Hell, free it up for someone just like Mikey Moore to take those minutes. Don't mind that, So, yeah, a little bit of news on Bryan Gil. For Reguilon, I don't know with Reguilon. Obviously, we've been told that Dortmund are still, maybe not. If you ever play Football Manager, you get a team that has major interest in terms of like you're expecting the bid to come in, and then you got a team with minor interest, maybe a bid to come in the foreseeable future. But by the looks of things, that probably is the only club we know about being interested in Sergio Reguilon at the moment. That's Dortmund. There will be a team or two in Spain, maybe later into this window, that kind of show their face. I mean, hell, if Girona fancy doing a double, I would probably take 10 to 12 million euros, 10 to 12 million pounds right now. And I'd run to the bank with that and go, look, we've moved them on. That's the important thing because they've got the money. So hopefully, but we'll see on Reguilon. I'm not too sure what the situation is there. And for a moment, I thought you meant Jenny Hermoso. We need a goal scorer at Spurs. Not gonna answer that, Donna. We get 10-15 million for him. Who? Bryan Gil? Don't think so, Les, mate. I saw that young Korean player report, but to be honest, I didn't take any notice of it because I don't know who the team is. I'm not going to take much notice of it until something comes out. Heard that Spurs will sign some 18-year-old South Korean player maybe this week during their tour. Well, we'll see, Jazz. Do Brentford not want Reguilon? Well, no, because Rico Henry will be coming back. So, and also he's on good wages. And he was a guy that was basically using Brentford to put his name in the shop window to then get himself a bigger club move. Who is this Hermoso? We'll get to it in a minute, Ollie. Hello, my friends. I'm happy. Well, if you're happy, that's the important thing. Hey, Liam, mate, you're right. So there is that on the Reguilon Bryan Gil situation. Jed Spence flavoured news, because I'm really intrigued by this whole situation. And I did have it to hand, but I will just refetch this. Because I didn't have it. I did have it to hand, but it's not anymore. So basically, on Jed Spence's situation, obviously having a pretty good preseason as of right now. Obviously, things can change on tour, and he kind of already sort of hinted himself, saying that he wanted to sort of regain the trust of the higher ups. He wanted to actually show that he could do it at Spurs, and he wanted to fight for his place in the squad, which I'm all for, by the way. I'm all for that, and I love that attitude for him, because people complain about his potential attitude issues. Well, this is a guy who, I think, if you've been watching him in pre-season, and you've been watching actually how he's been sort of in and around stuff in the squad and things like that, you can tell this is a guy that truly wants to be here. So Paul O'Keefe said that he has been impressing the coaching staff. Now, I've always said there's two schools of thought with this situation. Number one is, if you're a person that wants to sell Spence, well, put him in the shop window via pre-season, him absolutely balling out. He's been probably our best player potentially this pre-season. That's how good he's been, right? That will then in turn bring in interest from other clubs, and they'll come in and you'll get your money for him. The other school of thought is, you want him to stay, you want him to be the right back for next season. Well, if you want to be the right back for next season, he's played very well. He is showing you that actually he could potentially be that sort of second right back option. When Spurs were linked with Vanderson, and we were linked, well, Archie Gray, you could say, is a right back as well, but he was more used as a central midfielder side of things. I think the idea was Spurs would still maybe come back in for a centre back who could play right back potentially, or even a right back. Well, if Jed Spence continues this form, who's to say that Jed Spence isn't, in theory, like that signing for the right back, even though he's not a signing? He could potentially be that right back going forward into next season. Homegrown, that also helps. That ticks another box as well. It's early doors. Let's see how the rest of pre-season goes. Let's see how he handles tour and all those things. It's the same with the youngsters. Let's not also say it's not for the youngsters. We also have a situation where let's just see how they do, because some of them may develop, may kick on this tour and really show out. Some of them may have started very well and then just dip off a little bit. But for me, I've been liking what I've seen from Jed Spence. Keep it up, and I think we might not have to go and get a right back this summer, which doesn't hurt, does it? I guess. Chiesa is training alone right now. Oh, interesting. Spence on pre-season. Yeah, exactly. Spence could be great if he can keep his attitude. Well, the good attitude. Percival, how are you, mate? Jed Spence can play right and left. Well, yeah, he can play right and left, but I think for me, I'd like him just to be focused on the right-hand side. Play on the left if necessary, but focus on the right-hand sides. I used to be on the fence with Jed Spence, but I could give him a go. Could make so much sense? John, you've hit me with 2 puns in the space of 1 message. That's you. That's your job done for the day. Late arrival to the miss. I talked about Reguilon and Bryan Gil not being on pre-season tour, and then I talked about Girona being in for Bryan Gil, and now I've just talked about Jed Spence. We already have homegrown issues, so keeping Spence makes a lot of sense. That's true, Ollie. I'm still not convinced on Jed. I feel like he's one of them guys that have a bad spell, turn off, but I hope he keeps his run up. Well, let's see. I think it's early doors still. I mean, we are July 23rd. It's still early doors, but let's see. Afternoon, Spencer's done all right so far. Could be good cover. Well, that's it, John. I think that's a fair shout. It's early doors. We've liked what we've seen. We just need to see some more of it. And he's on tour now. He's got a few games out on tour. Some more first teamers are starting to come onto this tour now. Obviously, Vicario's back. Raduja Gujin should be joining them in Korea. So first, slowly but surely, You're starting to see some of the first teamers coming back. And then obviously, before you know it, you've got Bentancur, Romero, Lo Celso. Still got a lot of that to come, you know? I don't want to think about Arsenal's away jersey, Donna. There we go. I couldn't give a rat's ass about Arsenal. Right. Mario Hermoso. So according to reports out of Napoli, that Spurs remain in the background to sign Mario Hermoso. The defender is a free agent after his contract expires at Atletico Madrid. He was destined to join Napoli, but the move has now stalled. That he's free. I mean, I'm not overly blown away by it, but he's free. And if that means it could maybe allow us to do a bit more in other positions, okay, I can kind of get on board with it. But yeah, it's not the one that I'm thinking about. But if it meant if it allowed us to get a couple more players who are a bit more marquee, then I can kind of get on board with it, you know. Agree. Let's not mention that lot again. Yeah, exactly. Yes, something a little bit different on that side of things with Mario Hermoso. The last little bit I'll talk about actually is Bryan Gil again. Ironically, I started this video Bryan Gil. I'm going to end this video Bryan Gil. So there's reports out of Sevilla, supposedly, that are quite keen on Bryan Gil again. They want, I think it's like a loan with an obligation no more than sort of like 5 or 6 million. To be honest, I'm taking a few quid this summer. I'm getting the money now, and I'm moving on, washing my hands of this situation, rebuilding, using his squad spot for a new winger. You know, hell, if Mikey Moore continues to do well, then you give it to Mikey Moore. Even, you know, I still think Spurs could do with a winger, but you know, how old was I? About 4 or 5 years old. This is me being positive, but the lack of news about striker means we must have something could go under tight wraps. Robert, you've been watching me and my conspiracy theories, and it's been rubbing off, hasn't it? Me talking about how something goes quiet, we could be in there. I've given us all an infection with that, haven't I? I like it though, Robert. It's thinking out of the box. To be fair, I don't mind it. So, what's his style and position? I've not heard of this Hermoso before. He's a centre back, mate. He's a centre back, quite a pacey centre back, all things considered. He played for Atletico Madrid. Go and check him out, see what you think. I just realised João Felix is coming to Villa and he's a left winger, and Pedro Porro is a right back. Villa versus Spurs is going to be crazy. We might see both Prime Felix and Prime Porro this season. Well, Prime Felix hasn't existed in years, so I don't really mind. And if Felix wants to get a little bit rowdy, there's a Christian Romero sitting right next to Porro that you wouldn't want to fancy getting involved with. So there is that. So obviously, just a quick round of what we talked about. We talked about Reguilon and Bryan Gil not being on the pre-season tour. We've talked about Bryan Gil and Girona interest. Obviously, we then talked about Jed Spence impressing the coaching staff. But we also then talked about, well, Bryan Gil to Sevilla even, but then finished off with obviously that and the Mario Hermoso news. So plenty of newer stuff to talk about today, which is quite nice. Obviously, for 7 o'clock, pre-recorded. I won't be live at 7 o'clock. I'll be recording some more F1 gameplay, and I'm aiming to upload regular stuff probably in the next day or two for the second channel. So please subscribe. It's all the links of my socials and the second channel are in the description down below. Everyone's stressing out that we didn't sign anyone, but we're doing everything secretly. Love it, Teddy. But are you aware of the Felix? Yes, I am aware of it, mate. Do I like Spence's post? He did. I try not to take too much notice of that, Teddy, but he did. I would agree. Tony or Yorkerez. Depends on the situation. Maybe Yorkerez, but in terms of value for money, maybe Tony. That's how I'm sitting between. Thank you all very much for joining me this afternoon. I very much will look forward to your comments on the 7 p.m. video to come, and I'll see you all definitely for live tomorrow afternoon. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your days. I'll see you all very, very soon. Peace.